Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy and I am on a financial freedom journey with my family. I share all about that and more on this channel. Today I am back to talk to you guys about August and close out our August budget. So every single month I post our monthly budget videos, but that's not the whole story because we need to come back and see what we actually spent, and 99.9% of the time, our spending is not exactly how it is on our budget. So obviously we have some variable expenses that change, and the amount of money that we spend every month just ends up being a little bit different because you can come in with a plan, but it doesn't always go according to your plan exactly. So it's super important to make sure that you're closing out your budget every single month and tracking your expenses and making sure that your spending is aligned to your financial goals and your plan and all of that. So I love filming these videos because it forces me to close out my budget every single month. I feel like if I didn't film these videos, I would probably, skip a few months or just have some creative accounting going on, which is kind of how we used to do our budget. So I feel like this keeps me in check and makes sure that we are spending according to our plan as much as possible. Obviously, we're not perfect, but we try to do that. So let's go ahead and get into it. First section is our income section. I did also try to kind of color code these just because I thought it would be kind of fun. So I have income in green, fixed expenses in blue, variable expenses in this pink coral color, sinking funds, and then our main financial goal that we're working on, which is my Roth IRA. So just thought it kind of gave it a good visual appearance here. So first section is our income section. So we have our W-2 income. So my husband and I are both salaried. So this amount does not really change month to month because we just get our regular salaries. So that was the case in August. We didn't get any extra income or anything like that. But we did have side hustle income, which I never budget for. So we were able to bring in $200 of side hustle income for the month of August. So that leaves our total income that we were able to budget with at $7,400. So moving down to our first category, which is our fixed expenses. Our first fixed expense is our mortgage. So we budgeted $2,100 for that, and that is what we sent. So our mortgage is actually $1,995. So it's a little bit lower than this, but we do round it up so that we pay a little bit extra towards our principal every single month. Then we have our subscriptions. So this is our Netflix and our Peloton subscription. So that is $54 a month. And the beauty about fixed expenses is that these don't really change too much, except for our utilities are sometimes a little bit different. So this month is electric and gas, and then our internet. We do pay our water quarterly, and this was not a water bill month. So our total that we budgeted for utilities this month was $310. And we actually spent $357. So we did go a little bit over budget here by $47, but that's okay. Our electric and gas bill was actually just a little bit more than I expected. It was actually, let me see here, $297. We budgeted $250. So it was a little bit higher than I expected. It was also super hot here. So I know it was because we were using our AC a lot more, and that's totally fine. So a little bit more, but not too bad. Next up, we have preschool. So my daughter did go to preschool. She actually is officially done with preschool now, but August was the last month that she had preschool. So that was $760. If you guys watched my September budget, this did go down a little bit for the months to come because she's not going to be in daycare anymore. So it went down a little bit. She will still have some child care expenses because she's going to an after school care program, but because her 4K is only half day, so we have to fill the other half of that day. So that is what we're doing with her. Giving, we have a recurring donation in the amount of $100 that comes out every single month. And that was 1.4% of our income. And then spending, this is technically, I guess, a variable, but we put a flat amount in our own checking accounts every single month. So I would consider this more of a fixed expense because this is not our actual spending, but it did leave our account in a solid amount. So our spending is always $200 because we put it $100 each into our individual checking accounts. Now the balance of those checking accounts obviously is not exactly this because we do spend out of that account, but according to our main checking account, which is where we budget all of our money except for that $100 a month, is fixed. So I don't know, it's kind of confusing, but I put it under fixed expenses technically because it is just a flat amount and it doesn't change. So then moving into our variable expenses. So first up we have gas. I budgeted $175. and we spent 202. I did actually update this in our September budget, I think, to 200. So we did go over a little bit on this. We do have 2 cars now since June. And so I feel like it's just been kind of just like getting used to having 2 cars and filling up 2 cars instead of just one. I feel like it's a lot easier when you just have 1 car to like fill it up, because you only have to worry about 1 gas tank, whereas when you have 2, like depending on when I fill up and when my husband fills up, and like sometimes we both fill up right before the month is over, and it really kind of throws it off. So that was a little bit more challenging than I thought it was going to be, is just kind of figuring out like the sweet spot of our gas budget with 2 cars. So yeah, that's where we're at with that. I think we're going to raise it to 200. That sounds like it's going to be right on, hopefully. We did go over budget in this category as well in July, but we went a little bit more. I think we were like 280. So yeah, kind of just keeping an eye on that one. Groceries, we budgeted $800. We spent $829. I would consider that pretty close to being on budget, even though it's technically over budget, but we're never going to be perfect with groceries. Like obviously we're spending that money, and I'm never going to be able to spend exactly $800 to the penny. So as long as we're like roughly around that, I think it's fine. I try not to stress too much about this because it is what it is. Like we have to eat. And of course we could probably be a little bit more diligent about this, but it's fine. I'm not too worried about it. $29, it's not the end of the world. And then we have our fun and kids budget. So this is a budget we use for like our kids stuff. So if they have activities or birthday parties or like anything like that, that's just kind of like extra because we have kids. That's what I use for this. We are actually under budget by $15 in this one this month. And miscellaneous, we budgeted $200 and we spent $216. So this is kind of just like a catch-all category of like anything that's not in our budget. So one of the things that we did not have in our budget that we had come up in August was actually my kids' school pictures. So I didn't realize that we had to pay so far ahead of time. I think this is the first year that they've done that, but I had to buy the photos before they were taken, which kind of seems a little like shady to me. Cause like, what if they're horrible? I mean, I guess they have picture retake, but like still, I don't know. It seemed kind of weird, but we had to buy the pictures. And of course I bought the pictures cause I'm a sucker for school pictures. So we did buy the school pictures. I got the cheapest package, the cheapest like digital package, because I just want the digital picture. I don't actually need the printed out pictures. But yeah, so that was one of the things that we spent. So that's just like an example of like some of the things that we buy from this category. It's really just like a catch-all of anything that we didn't account for. And I just like to have this there because there's always stuff that comes up every single month that maybe we couldn't account for, maybe we didn't know about, that we need to be able to pay for. And our last variable category is dining out. So we budgeted $250 and spent $278. So obviously, again, same general story this month. I feel like we were a little over, but it's not a super big deal. I'm not too concerned about it. We were like pretty close. Like I feel like this month was actually pretty good because we were like relatively close on all of these. Not perfect, but I don't feel like we were like frivolously spending or anything like that. So next up is our sinking fund categories. So these 5 are sinking funds that we fund every single month. So what we had budgeted was $50 for car, $200 for kids, $100 for home, vacation, and Christmas. And we did all of those as planned. We didn't adjust any of these down or anything. So we did have back to school in August. So that was the reasoning behind putting a little bit more into the kids sinking fund in August, because we did spend quite a bit out of there for school supplies, some school clothing and just miscellaneous school fees and stuff. So we did spend, a decent amount of money out of there. So I wanted to make sure that we had a plan to replenish that. So that was 0.7%, 2.7%, and then 1.4% for all the rest. And finally, we had our Roth IRA, or I should say my Roth IRA. So our current financial goal that we're working on right now is funding my Roth IRA. We were able to put $1,655 into my Roth IRA in the month of August, which is 22.4% of our income going to that goal. So I feel really good about that. We do have other financial goals that we work on like outside of this through our employers. So my husband and I both contribute to our 401ks through our employers. And I also contribute to an HSA through my employer. So that you don't see on here, but it is happening behind the scenes. And you guys can get more information about that if you watch my net worth videos, because I do share all of that information in my net worth videos. I share more in that video about like our balances of our retirement accounts, our HSA balance, and all of that. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, check out my net worth and financial goals videos that I post every month. But again, 20% I feel really good about because we do have other investing going on outside of this. This is not just the only investing we're doing. And also we are putting quite a bit into savings as well. So I feel really good about this. We used to be closer to like 50% towards our financial goals back when we were in debt, but our life has changed a lot since then. And so getting around that 20% I feel very good about, and I'm very happy about it. So our total income recap down here, total income was $7,400. Total expenses was $73.86. And that leaves a difference of positive $14. So if you guys watch my channel before, we do keep a buffer in our checking account. So obviously we don't want our checking account to have no money in it outside of our bills, because something could always come up. You know, for our sinking funds and our emergency fund, these are not kept in our checking account. So we have just a very small padding in our checking account of like a few $100s. I try to keep it like around $400 to $500, just in case something were to come up, something were to come out early or something like that. So I do just keep a small buffer in there. So this $14 will just go towards that buffer. I don't really track it. I just try to make sure that we're kind of like around that $400 to $500 mark. And we've been around there for quite a while. So if we go a little bit short and a little bit over, you know, that just kind of feeds into the buffer. So that is all I have for the month of August. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have closed out your August. How did August go for you? What financial goals are you guys working on right now? I would love to chat with you guys in the comments, and I will talk to you on Friday for Debt Free Friday. Bye guys.